I talked a lot today about the fundamentals, so reliability, performance and speed. So those things are in it for business. That's the consistent feedback we got between XP and Vista and just generally in the market. But beyond that, the other areas for business is around making end users more productive. So we see, particularly in Australia, this move to more and more people who are either working remotely or are mobile workers. So how do they continue to get access to their corporate resources, the things that they need to do their job every day, while still being able to be on the road? And then from an IT point of view is how do you manage those remote PCs? Group policy, security, updates, just like they were inside the organisation. So in Windows 7, in Enterprise Edition and Ultimate, there are two features that kind of address those things, direct access, and that using IPv6 and Windows Server 2008 R2 basically means as soon as a worker, opens up their laptop and connects to the internet, they're also connecting securely back to their corporate repository. So it does away with the need for a VPN additional solution.
How do you think businesses are going to acquire Windows 7? Are they going to install it over the top, or are they just going to buy a new PC?
We are seeing, so all the early adopter customers that we have and the kind of forecasting to deploy this year, it's on existing PCs. Yeah. So, which is a mix of, of course, if I can reflect on Microsoft, we don't all get a new PC at the same time. I know. Please don't have a new PC. So you've got to be able to do both. And more customers are attaching client to their volume licensing agreements with Microsoft, which means that they'll upgrade to their desktop refreshes and their infrastructure refresh, which is more aligned to their business, not aligned to their hardware refresh.
Okay.
Yep.
The enterprise search feature.
Yeah.
Any update on whether that connects to data repositories other than those residing in SQL Server and SharePoint?
Yep. If it's not about as long as it uses an open search standard and an XML connector, so as long as it's connecting to something that supports those, you should be able to search on it. And I think you asked the question of what about a WebSphere portal and whatnot. If I need to
WebSpheres, your EMC Documentums, your open texts, I mean, they're out there and they're being used.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Old file shares, you name it. So it's not just about SharePoint portal or just about certain databases.
A lot of the stuff today was talked about in terms of media streaming and information sharing peer-to-peer across the net. Is that something you think CIOs are comfortable with from a security point of view and a data loss prevention point of view?
We haven't had much feedback about that particular feature. It's around they'll adapt the standard operating environment to what they need, whether their end users, if they are working from home, being able to connect back. It's more about connecting back into the corporate repository to get media that sits back there. I think it's interesting. More around containing it for things like computer-based training, as opposed to getting access back to your home PC to fit the photos of your family and whatnot. It really comes down to their
I have a similar question around the library. The library function would there be something that might be infringing on the privacy of individual employees, like family photos, you know what I mean? How easy is it to set limits on the sharing of different files?
So the thing with the federated search is you only get access to things that you have from a group policy point of view, so it goes back to Active Directory to check that you should have access to that application, that portal, and so forth. So it will be in alignment with the security policy overall of access information. But the thing above that, it also audits what people are trying to connect to, so you have a much more granular level of understanding about to be able to make an assessment. If there are a lot of people trying to access that repository, what is it they're trying to get? Should we open that up? Or there are threats to more people trying to get there. We need to lock that down further. So it's not just, adhering to the security policy, it's giving a more level of auditing control about what are people trying to do.
But it is at an individual employee level. If you have information protected, you don't necessarily want to share with the rest of the company or the information you have to then be careful.
Libraries aren't about assessing basically indexing everybody's PC. It's about you creating libraries for the work that you do, or some pre-built IT have actually built ones.
So you actually have to opt information.
Yeah, that's right. And there are limits, in fact, to how many connectors you can have within Windows Explorer as well. So it is like it will adhere to the information policy of the business. So you've actually captured the three kind of that make users productive. Security is the other one from a business use perspective. So there's been a lot of changes to the user access control. The feedback was very chatty. So that's been reduced. A lot of work around both from Microsoft. What, from a security point of view, what do you need a prompt from the user to say yes to versus what you don't? So there's been a reduction of about 30%. We've also shared that with our partners, ecosystems, so that they're taking advantage of the learnings around minimising the end user experience with those security prompts while still giving that level of granular security to them.
A lot of the user interface enhancements you demonstrated today seem to be directed at making consumers more productive. Were they also developed for business users, perhaps process workers who might have fewer than 15 windows open during the course of a day?
The business users were the biggest in the volume of people who were given the feedback. Business use was the predominant, the majority of that feedback came from business. The 15 windows is absolutely from a corporate point of view. Yeah.
Okay, so corporate users have 15 windows open?
More, that's an average.
Crikey.
Yep, crikey. Yeah, I was surprised as well, and I started counting how many windows. You think about, we count, so an improvement from Vista, back to your other question, is that when every window that was open, or application that was open, we would apply a certain amount of memory utilisation to it, which would, so now, only the active windows, the window that is you're interacting with, now uses the memory. The rest of stuff goes into passive mode. Even when you're looking across that taskbar to try and find what window that you're looking for to work with, it doesn't use additional memory until you open it and activate it, actually make it an active window. So security, the other areas are App Locker, being able to manage the number of applications that are allowed to be installed after you get your desktop refreshed and whatnot. And then there's BitLocker, which was Vista, and we've now included BitLocker for your removable storage as well. Just the whole trend around 4 gig, 32 gig. I got a terabyte of removable storage now sitting in my desk.
Damn, you're ahead of me.
I know. I've got this, and I've got to share all the information with everybody, but that's still the terabyte of storage.
Yeah.
So they're the main things around security. And then finally, it's the management of PC. So tools around deploying, both mass scale, so network, tied very closely to Windows Server and the Microsoft deployment optimization pack suite, but also just tools around group policy, around troubleshooting. So 100 troubleshooting packs pre-built inside of Windows 7. All that 8 million users. We understand what are the most common issues that people have from the point they install Windows 7 to start working over time. We've been able to build some basic troubleshooting packs that they can automate the fix without going to a help desk.
How does Windows 7 go in a virtual desktop arrangement or other thinner client arrangements?
So Windows 7, the footprint on the PC just generally is very small comparatively. But how it goes, there's a couple. It depends on what you're trying to do. There's lots of different options. So whether you're just specialising an app on top of Windows 7, from an end user point of view, the experience you have running that app is like you're running it off the client directly. To running a whole image. So with Windows 7, you can dual boot multiple images. I have on my machine, I've got 3, basically the one I use every day, and then 2 for demoing. It's a great, the performance hit on any of those hasn't been great. And then I guess some other things around being able to move from PC to PC and keep your profile with you, so have the same experience. A lot of that is enabled from virtual, both virtual.